Welcome, welcome to another episode of Varsity House Podcast. The hottest podcast out right now. Featured on New York Post, featured on Sports Illustrated, and also featured on Undisputed. They didn't quote us or source us, but one day they'll give us the respect that we deserve. But this episode, we're in the Steel City, home of the Terrible Towel, Pittsburgh, and we got a few Pittsburgh Steelers here. We got Chase Claypool to my right, we got Miles Boykin, and we got Minkah Fitzpatrick. So I appreciate all you guys coming in. I know the media gonna get after this one just because it's probably hard to get all of y'all in the room. So appreciate you guys coming in. But how's the off season been so far?
For me, off season been good. I've been training in LA for the most part, and the biggest thing I've been doing is trying to stay healthy. We talked about it a little bit, but those little muscles that you can forget about, that's kind of things I've been working on.
Yeah, definitely, man. Trying to get used to my new teammates, my new city, and just be a part of something big this year.
Yeah, it's been a good off season. First, we appreciate you just having us on here, but it's been good. I've been up here for the most part. We got a lot of new faces in the building, so just trying to get familiar with them and show them how we do things in Pittsburgh. So
You like you said, you do got a lot of new faces. Because of that, has the off season been a little bit slower? Because I'm sure you guys are you usually have like a lot of vets on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Also with Ben leaving, you had Juju who left, who was a veteran. Tua just retired. So has this off season, these OTAs been just a little bit slower, just having to bring everyone else along?
I'll say for the defense, it has, but it hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We have a phrase, it's like you jumping on a moving train. You know what I'm saying? So for other guys that are new, they hop in and we're still moving at 110. You know what I'm saying? We're still moving at a fast pace, and we're installing fast and going through what we need to go through and working on what we needed to work on from what we found last year. But once those guys get in the doors and they're here, we do everything we can as players, as leaders to get them on track. Show them how we're doing things, show them how we're moving, so that when we get moving, they feel comfortable.
How about the offense?
Offense, I would say it definitely is a little bit more than usual, just because it's only me and Tay and a couple other guys from last year. And then not only that is we have a new playbook, essentially, like same plays, different words.
Mm-hmm.
So even for the guys who have been here, like me and Tay, like we still have to relearn the same thing. And then obviously for the rookies, we got a couple of rookies, so we got to teach them, and we got to kind of work through like some of the nuances of the offense. And then Miles, he's been struggling a little bit. So I've been having to help him extra. So
Has it felt like rookie year for you? I know you were with the Ravens before, and so this is obviously a new team. Does it bring back, I guess, memories from rookie year?
Yeah, in a way it does, but it's also like, obviously once you play in the league for a certain amount of times, you feel like you know certain things. So even, the routes that we're running, they're all different to me. Like the what we're calling them, or the play schemes, everything else is different. The route tree is different for me now. So just learning that has been, it's been huge. Obviously having Chase help me out a little bit.
I got you.
It's a great
Because he knows everything, right?
Yeah, big brain.
But no, right? It's learning a whole new language. So I'm excited to be here, but it definitely is tough.
Yeah, Steelers and then also even the Ravens last year had a long emotional season. What were some of the things that you guys did to recharge and just to get back ready for this season?
I think a big thing is like, all the fans really think about you just as a football player, right? Because that's all they ever see. But to mentally reset, I feel like it's super important to do something that's not football. Because you spend so much time doing football and like dedicating yourself to football, to when it's finally done, you vacation, whether it's spending time with family. I just went home, spent time with family, and didn't do football for a few weeks there, like a month to recover and just mentally reset. So.
Yeah, for me, especially, I had a bunch of injuries last season, so taking time away, you don't realize how much injuries impact the game and then impact you, as a player. So for me, I had never missed a game until last season, And, I missed way more than what I wanted to miss, but sometimes, things are just out of your control, so you always try to go back and look at, okay, what could I have done better, last offseason to not get hurt, or this offseason, what can I do again? So for me especially, man, I just kind of really honed in on, my body and how I can get better and, be right for when camp comes again this season.
Minkah, I know you don't take a break.
I ain't gonna lie, I had to this year. This is probably like, not mentally, but physically, this is probably the toughest season that I had. Just from the type of game we were playing this year as a defense. It was a real physical game. I think I had 132 tackles as a free safety. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't happen too often, and I wasn't used to that. So my body was beat up bad after the season. But I took like 3-4 weeks where I just rested, and I did what Chase said. I just spent time with family. I went to New Jersey, tapped back into my roots, stayed with my family down in Florida, and just got my mind right, got my body right, did everything I could to recover. But I had to after this year. Normally I don't. It was just like a week, and start swimming and getting back into things. Nothing crazy, but I had to press reset for sure this off season because it was a tough one.
Yeah, you guys had a strong. I heard you guys had a strong veteran presence at OTAs this year.
Mm-hmm.
How's that been? Just being able to teach the young guys, because now you two are pretty much you're leaders. You're a leader on the defense. You're a leader on the offense. There was even I look back and Coach Saban even called you that you had a nickname. You were Coach Saban's son.
Oh no! Minkah Saban in the house.
But it was because of just the mindset and the way you went about, the way you went to work, the way you worked, the way you played on the field, the way you studied, things like that. The way just how much you cared about the game, and then just how impactful you were on the other guys around you. So has that just always been natural to you, or is it just kind of like, I mean, you were at Alabama and you kind of just like fell into that role, and then I feel like now you're here and you're in that similar role?
I think it's something that it's kind of just been in me for a long time, but it's been developed as I've gotten older. So like in high school, my coaches were super disciplined. Most of them were cops in Jersey City. You know what I'm saying? So they're real regimented, real disciplined, real big on being a man's man, you know what I'm saying? And then I got to college and I had Coach Saban, one of the greatest coaches of all time, if not the greatest college coach of all time, you know what I'm saying? And I looked at him, I'm like, come on, you can't, come on. You're right. But I had guys like that to look at, and I seen Coach Saban and how nobody prepares the way that he prepares, nobody is disciplined in the regimen and the routine that he has in regards to film and studying and whatnot, and just challenging the people around him. So I looked at him, and I'm real big on learning from successful people, you know what I'm saying, learning from their successes and their failures. So I looked at him and I was like, how can I implement what he's doing into my routine, you know what I'm saying? So I just, took a little bit of this, took a little bit of that, and just implemented into my game and my routine and my regimen. And now we are where we are and in the position that we're in, and now it's kind of like I see the roles kind of like, and now I got guys that are looking at me, some of the younger guys are looking at me and like, hey, what do you do on a daily basis? And I'm like, all right, just watch, monkey see, monkey do. You know what I'm saying? And that's it at the end of the day.
Chase, you're a very emotional player. How is, like, have you had to, I guess, tone that down and to be a better leader, or is it just kind of something that you embrace and then that's just like how you wear it, I guess?
No, I think you're right in the sense where it's like, you do have to tone it down in times because last year's a couple times I let my emotion get the best of me with some unsportsmanlike. And one
of my favorites that I always see is when you it's the Malcolm Butler, and I hate it because I'm a DB and it's like similar size or whatever, so it's like right, and we just
yeah. And the crazy story, the backstory behind that. So, that all went down, and it is, I don't even know where we were at, whether it was like a Super Bowl event or something. This dude, I'm thinking, this guy comes up to me, he's like, yo, someone wants to chat to you. And so I turn around, I'm like, oh, what's good, big dog? How you doing? Whatever. And give him a little fist bump, go in the club. And my friends were around me. Okay, that was cool, whatever. Or that was like that was a little random. I was like, yeah, for sure. And then we get in the club and my homie whispers. He's like, yo, this is like probably an hour after the fact. He's like, yo, Malcolm Butler's right beside you. It was the same dude that I dabbed up, and he was like, and I big timed him because I didn't recognize him without the helmet. So he was like, yo, what he said to me outside, he was like, what I'm about to say. And I was like, nah. Because I was like, because I like kind of recognized him a little bit. Like I was like, this dude's probably a football player or something. And he's like, yo, he's like, come on now. He's like, don't big time me. I was like, I have no clue what you're talking about, dog. So I walked away because I thought like, I didn't know, right? So I walked away and then I saw him right next, table right beside me, probably 5 feet away from me. Mm-hmm. And, we both looked at each other, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's him." So then, I hopped up on the table and I dabbed him up, and it was all love. I sent him a drink, he sent me a drink, and it's crazy because on the field, you could be chirping someone all game,
for sure,
and then off the field, it's all love. Like Malcolm Butler, on the field, I would say, yo, I don't like Malcolm Butler. On the field,
you gonna hold
off the field, off the field, Malcolm Butler's a good dude. You know what I'm saying? But on the field, I would not have said that, right? Because it's chirpy and that's what we do. But as soon as we get off the field, it's all love. But in terms of the emotions, I'm an emotional player. I gotta channel it the right way. Usually, I do it. I do it throughout the game, to my benefit. But I just gotta make sure I don't let that slip.
And I'll say this, man. Since I've known you, you've been an emotional player, but not one time have I ever thought, this person doesn't care about the game. You know what I'm saying? So I think some people get that twisted in terms of when they look at an emotional player, oh, he doesn't care about his teammates, he doesn't care about his team. I've never, ever felt that way about you as a teammate, bro. Going into war, you're one of the first people I want to pick. Because I know you're going to do everything you can to win the game.
Yeah, and I think I just care so much about, the outcome of the game that sometimes I let that get the best of me, but I'll never look at that and look myself in the mirror and be like, damn, I gotta care less. I'll never do that.
Exactly.
I just gotta show it the right way. We had the little, what's those little SWAT teams?
Yeah.
So I was a freshman or sophomore. I guess I had to have been a sophomore. And it was McGlinchey, obviously senior captain, and Nelson against our team or whatever. And, McGlinchey started cheering me back. And this is before I even played because that was after my first year. And I didn't care who was talking to me. It could have been anyone. And I snapped on McGlinchey. And then after the drill, I was like, hey, man, we cool? You know what I'm saying? I didn't mean anything I said. If we're good, we're good. So, sometimes, I do it to help me. And sometimes, I got to channel it right now.
How's the, you were drafted here. Minkah, you came from Miami. You just came back, or you just came from the Ravens. How's the, How were the fans when you first got here? How well did they embrace you guys, or if they even embrace you yet?
I didn't think they would because it happened so quick.
Mm-hmm.
I got to the airport the same day that they claimed me, and I was at the airport. People were waiting at the airport, asking for me to sign autographs. I'm like, how did I even know I was coming in today? They literally told me I could have waited a day or two to come. And you got to come today. I was like, okay, well, I'll come today. And they were out there waiting for me. I just thought wow, this city's got to be different already. But I'd always heard that. Obviously, I played here 3 times when I was in Baltimore, and the atmosphere is always crazy. Definitely one of the loudest stadiums I've played in. So their fans are crazy.
How'd that process go down of you becoming a Steeler?
Yeah, so I knew Baltimore was going to waive me since the end of the season because of the cap that they had there and the issues that they had. So. Finally, it happened. I was in Baltimore when this happened. I was actually there cleaning out my place already because OTA started the next day. And then, so my agent called me and said, hey, Baltimore just decided to release you. I said, okay, sounds good, blah, blah, blah. What's next? He's like, yeah, we don't know if anybody's going to claim you. You might be able to become a free agent and you get to choose where you're going. So we're talking about, teams that we think are some of the best fits and all this other stuff. And then I want to say about maybe 12 hours later, my agent calls me. He's like, hey, how do you feel about Pittsburgh? I said, Pittsburgh's cool, blah, blah. And they got a good situation. He goes, all right, well, you're going there. It's 5 minutes, a 5-minute conversation, right? So keep going.
To add on that, Coach T, every time we played the Ravens, would always ask about Miles because he loves big receivers that play special teams. Mm-hmm. Every time we played, I don't know if you remember, you were lined up on kick return, and Coach T said something to him. And So it's not like I knew it was gonna happen, but it definitely makes sense that it did happen.
Yeah. So then the Steelers personnel called me. Like one of the scouts called me like 5 minutes later, and he's like, "Yeah, we're happy to have you. Obviously you got to pass your physical, everything before we make it all official. So don't tell anybody. The only person you could tell is Chase. And we'll see you in a couple hours." So I called Chase. I FaceTime, of course, typical Chase fashion, he don't pick up.
Right.
So I don't know what's going on. He called me back like 20 minutes later, and I pick up and say, "What's up, teammate?" He's like, "Bro, what are you talking about?" I said, "Bro, I'm on the Steelers now."
And I was like, hey, "Can I leak it? Can I leak it?"
He said, "I had a whole tweet ready to go." I said, "Bro, do not do that." But it didn't matter because they found out like anyways. Like
They
before.
found out right after,
Yeah.
so I might as well have just done it. Would have been dope.
Yeah, but nah, man, I'm excited to be here. I got from already the people that I've met here. There's great people here, great teammates here, and they're about winning, man. That's all I'm about too. So I'm excited.
How about you, Minkah?
What about me?
How were the fans embrace you when you first got to Pittsburgh?
I mean, it's a similar situation to him. I got traded on a Monday night after week 2. I got here Tuesday morning. There's fans in the airport. They're blowing me up on social media and whatnot, but yeah, Pittsburgh fans are serious. They're all about sports. They're all about football, baseball, hockey. They're serious. They love you. They embrace you. The thing I like about Pittsburgh though is when you don't have the greatest game in the world, there's a lot of fan bases that'll attack you and rip you apart and tear you down. But and there are some that do that, of course.
For sure. But 1,000%.
But for the most part, there's a lot of people that are uplifting and encouraging and know that we're giving our best effort no matter what. So they're gonna have our back. So it's pretty cool to be part of a program that's like that for real.
Well, what's been different, or your situation is obviously different. You were drafted here.
Mm-hmm.
How was that? How were your experiences different than theirs?
So right away, all the measurables and the comparisons of me and Megatron came out. So the city of Pittsburgh, they did like the Twitter did a poll on my new nickname, and that's how I got Mapletron.
What were some of the other names?
You like that?
Air Canada and the Maple Bandit, baby.
What's your favorite?
It's a little grimy.
Mapletron grew on me for sure. Like at first, I didn't really like it because it kind of plays off someone else's name, but it's cool. I was able to trademark a logo for it, and now I'm doing merch and all that, so it worked out. And they received me well. It was awesome. I wasn't able to get on the plane because it was COVID year, so I actually didn't get into the facility until like training camp, I feel like, because we didn't have OTAs, we had nothing.
Yeah.
We did our throw rounds at Robert Morris, which was a small school down the street, and but it was super cool. But I didn't get to interact with like any fans really that whole first year. No fans in the stadium, really.
That was a terrible first year.
Yeah, so social media, I guess, kind of took over for me in terms of the fans like showing love and stuff like that since they couldn't be there in person. So it was good. The first year was good. Second year.
You got a huge history of Steelers receivers. I'm talking about you got Stallworth, you got Swan, you got Ward. The list goes on. You got Juju, who was just here. You had AB, Wallace, ton of receivers. Probably a lot of pressure too, just because the fans have high standards of the product that goes on the field. How's that been for you? And then Miles, coming from the Ravens to where it's like now you're entering that same you're entering the same organization that's used to seeing great talent on the field. So is that just pressure for you, or you look at that as just like privilege?
No, I think it's like you look at it and you're like, okay, all these people are coming through here and they're great, and it gets like, why are they great? Maybe like the Steelers kind of have shaped them to be that way, right? And so I think it's like an opportunity, to kind of carry that torch a little bit, and it was cool coming in with Juju because he was able to tell me all the stories of the pass receivers, and he was able to teach me the game and really help me out. So I look at it as opportunity and not pressure, really.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. Obviously I'm coming from a different situation, so for me it's like I'm coming into this opportunity to work with these guys that have already had proven success in the NFL, and even Chase being my brother, it's like now we get back to a point to where, because especially in college, it's like we're challenging each other, you know, whether that's on or off the field. You're coming up to me after a play saying, hey, you can do this better, you can do that better. I'm coming to you saying, hey, you can do this and you can do that better. But we have that type of relationship because we're like brothers. Like, I mean, we never gonna disrespect each other. We already know, you know, where our critique is coming from. So it's always great having that, you know, extra person being able to tell you how you can be better and what you can do to be better.
Mm-hmm. Similar to receivers, great DBs from Pittsburgh as well. You got Mel Blount, Rod Woodson, Troy Polamalu, Ryan Clark, list goes on. How has that been? Also, because Coach Tomlin's coached a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
So how's that been? Just being under the organization, but also having those guys like probably one phone call away.
Yeah, it's cool to be honest. You know, seeing, you know, because we still watch film of those guys, you know, or Polamalu and Clark. We still pull up film and clips because they're running the same defense. So just being able to go back and watch and see how they play, because you know you see the highlights and you see all the splash plays and whatnot, but you don't really see the nitty gritty. And it's cool seeing how the little stuff that they did, the details that they did, even in practice, is what made them great. So having an opportunity to reflect that in my game, you know what I'm saying, is definitely a blessing for sure, because not everybody has the wealth of knowledge that the Steelers have in Coach T, and just the talent that they've had over the last 20, 30 years. So it's definitely a blessing for sure to be able to even Ryan Clark reached out last week just talking about just contract stuff and just football, you know what I'm saying? So being able to to pick up the phone like you said and talk to a guy that's been through this process before is a blessing for sure.
You ever talk to Coach about some of the freedom that Troy Polamalu had?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Being able to jump over the line and all that stuff.
He me and him have very funny conversations because we meet. There's like 4 of us meet while special teams are meeting with Coach T, 4 defensive guys. And we'll have some funny conversations, and he'll be like, "Man, you sound just like Troy right now." And I'm like, "Yeah, so let me do what Troy does." You know what I'm saying? And he's like, "No, just give it time." But no, that's something I really appreciate about Coach T is the freedom that he lets us have. You know what I'm saying? And once he knows you know what you're doing and you're comfortable with the scheme, that he lets you play ball. You know what I'm saying? Like when I first got here, on that Tuesday morning, the first thing he said to me was like, "Look, we're not gonna put no restraints on you. You're gonna be starting this Sunday at free safety, but just play ball." You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know the playbook and nothing like that. But he said just play ball, and that's been like my motto between me and him since I've been here. Is just play ball, be Minkah, be instinctive, be athletic, and do what you do. So,
I got a question for Minkah.
Uh-oh.
How was that playing for one team week 1 and
Yeah.
then a different team week 2?
Yeah.
That gotta have been crazy. That had to
No,
been crazy.
it was crazy for sure. It all happened so fast. You know what I'm saying? Like I requested a trade during camp, and they told me no multiple times. And then finally, after the second game, once they realized what they were doing, it's a whole nother situation. But but once they realized what they were doing, they was like, all right, we could get some value for them.
Yeah.
So I got traded on that Monday. Like I said, I got on the plane Tuesday morning, and it was like. It didn't even make sense, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I had a little duffel bag, a little Adidas duffel bag, like t-shirt, underwear, socks, shoes. Started on Sunday in San Francisco. It was crazy, honestly. And looking back on it, I'm like, I don't even know how I did it for real.
Yeah.
Like they handed me the playbook, said, all right, man, you're going to be starting on Sunday.
You got to pick that game?
I picked
Yeah, that's what I crazy. I remember seeing it. I remember seeing that.
It all turned out the way it was supposed to, so.
Yeah, I mean, you talking about Miami right now. What was the the situation to where, because I mean that was your second year, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had you playing I seen you probably at nickel, you were at safety, maybe they probably put you at cornerback a little bit. But was that part of the issue, that it was just like they moved you around too many places to where it's like they didn't let you be you, and then you talk about coming here and it's just like,
yeah. Now, part of the main issue was just how they were going about that season, their approach to it. You know what I'm saying? That was really bothering me. And then when it came to position-wise, it was they were moving me around, but it was like in the box.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was at linebacker. I'm on the edge, setting the edge at 205. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. And it was just a difference of opinion and type of player I was between me and a couple of the coaches. You know what I'm saying? And you know, because I like moving around. I like being able to do different things and play different positions because it doesn't put you in a box. You know what I'm saying? And offenses always got to know where you're at. But yeah, it wasn't the fact I was moving around the field. It was where I was going about. You know what I'm saying? So
the organization didn't want to win games.
I got bite my tongue. I bite my tongue.
Wait, who did y'all play the first game? In
Miami.
Miami.
We ain't talking about that, bro. We ain't talking about
Oh,
that. That game
Lord.
was those first two games. It was the Patriots and the Ravens. It was awful.
Oh,
Awful. That was like
Is that when y'all- I was like,
that was the
that
Hollywood.
was like Lamar's coming out
Yeah.
party. Yeah.
you never want to be part
You
of it.
scored that game,
Yeah,
right?
my first catch, first touchdown.
Yeah.
First game.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That was on Minkah too, wasn't it?
No, Mink was at safety, man.
Come on, man.
AFC North. I mean, you've all played in it now. Probably one of the could arguably be the best division in the NFL. You guys swept the Browns and the Ravens last year. But like even coming into this year, it's like some people have you ranked 4th going into the season as far as like in the division. What are some things? Obviously the season's long, so it's like everything's gonna play out the way it's gonna play out. Injuries happen, trades happen, like we just talked about. But so what are some things like going into this mini camp that it's gonna be like that you got to focus on to obviously keep out the outside noise, but to stay focused on the group that's in the building.
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously I think preseason rankings don't matter at all, right? Because I feel like they didn't have us.
The last 4 years we've been 4th in the preseason ranking.
Yeah, so it don't matter. But, like, I get where they're coming from because, you have Deshaun Watson, you have Lamar Jackson, and then you have Joe Burrow, right? And then we have an technically unproven quarterback coming off. Whoever's going to be starting for us is coming off a year where he didn't start.
Mm-hmm.
So, we have a quarterback that is going to have to prove themselves. But we know, we feel pretty good about what we got going on over there. So we never look into that preseason rankings. No, but it is exciting because I do believe that we are coming from the best division in football, I think, with the talent in the league. So
Yeah, absolutely, because even not being here for the past 3 years and being somewhere else in the AFC North, I can promise you, I can tell you that those AFC North games, it's always a toss-up, man. Like,
Sure.
You're not going to say one team going to come in 4th and one team going to come in 1st. Like, the gap is not big at all between, and that's in the NFL in general, but especially in the AFC North, because when you play an AFC North team, you gotta come with it that game. It don't matter who you play in the AFC North, you gotta come with it. So, we just gotta focus on ourselves and be the best team that we can be the Steelers that we know we are. So, at the end of the day, everything else will kind of shake itself out.
Is there a team that you dislike the most, to where it not necessarily players, but to where it's like the environment, maybe even the travel there, or just like maybe even the fans too?
Every team besides the one I'm on. It was the Steelers just because of that whole
Right.
rivalry, but now it's the Ravens because of the rivalry.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy I get to play them twice a year, just to make a statement. But yeah, that's the only thing I can say about it. I don't like playing any other team. I like my teammates, but no, fans are gonna be fans, and we just try to go out there and get a win.
Yeah. What about you two?
So I think, obviously the AFC North teams, but I think probably the one that I have the most bad blood with, based off history, is probably the Browns. But, you know what I'm saying? I love all the guys in the Browns, but when we play them, it's war.
What does the comment the Browns even mean?
So, yeah, that shit got misconstrued a little bit.
It's like, I have no idea.
Like the media is like, essentially the media is like, they need clicks, right? So they need to make something seem like it isn't, right?
Right.
Something normal seem like it. They need to make a story out of it. That was a big story. But the Browns are the Browns. Basically, what Juju was trying to say was like, at the end of the day, like, the Browns are the Browns, and we have to beat the Browns. Like, they are the team that we are preparing for. Not saying, like, the Browns are, they're just the Browns.
Yeah.
No, like, the Browns, like, aren't anyone else. They are the Browns, right? So we have to go out there and play.
Because it's,
the
I mean,
Browns
it's
that we
still
played.
it's NFL. It's still an NFL team.
Yeah.
They had NFL players, so it's just
Yeah.
whatever.
And then like he said something like nameless gray faces or whatever. That also got misconstrued. It's basically saying no matter who you're playing, is you have to go and play the same against that team. Doesn't matter if it's the Browns or the Ravens or the Bengals. Doesn't matter. They're nameless gray faces because you're gonna step on that field and you should be playing the same, no matter who it is.
Minkah, what about you?
I would agree with the AFC North. I love just the competitive nature, the toughness, the physicality of everybody's game. I think the one team that really embodies it though is the Browns. You know what I'm saying? Just that physical downhill, just ground and pound football. You know what I'm saying? And it's tough, it's physical, and those are the fun games. You know what I'm saying? And they got a lot of talent over there. They play with a lot of passion, and now that they got Deshaun Watson, they got a lot of confidence behind them. So just playing teams like that, year in and year out, twice a year. When you play them, you gotta put your chin strap real tight. You know what I'm saying? Make sure your shoulder pads are locked in, and it's fun. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, they play with a lot of passion, a lot of energy, and I like playing against people like that because it gives me on a similar type level. So.
The Steelers don't move off coaches often. They've had 3 since 1970, which is crazy. What are some things that you guys value from Coach Tomlin that's probably kept him around so long?
I would say his transparency. He don't care who you are. He don't care what you've done. You know what I'm saying? He's a straight shooter. He's gonna tell you the truth right to your face. He's gonna tell you the truth in front of the whole team. Whether it's Ben, whether it's me, you know what I'm saying, he's going to embarrass you. But it's not because he's trying to be, an asshole hotshot, but it's because he's trying to get you better, you know what I'm saying? He's trying to motivate you, you know what I'm saying? He's trying to show other people in the room, like, it don't matter what you've done. If you just played a bad game, you just played a bad game, and we got to work through it, you know what I'm saying? He's also not going to degrade you or talk down to you, but he's gonna get on you for sure, but he's gonna keep it real with you, and that's what I respect a lot. Because when you got a coach that can't look you in the eye and tell you what it is or how it is, that's not fun as a player. It's not fair as a player, and you don't want to play for him. You know what I'm saying? But Coach T, he's very transparent, and he's fun to play for because of his honesty and his transparency and just his approach to the game.
Any similarities to Saban?
Oh yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Definitely in the preparation. Like Coach T's always watching film. He's always in his little room. He has stats all over the walls. You know what I'm saying? That he writes himself. You know what I'm saying? So, Coach Saban has a very similar setup. You know what I'm saying? In his little back room in his office, where just numbers and random stuff all over the wall, X's and O's all over the wall, and watching countless hours of film. You know what I'm saying? He's in there super early. Both of them are in there super early and leave super late. So definitely their preparation is similar.
Mm-hmm. What are some things you value about him?
I was gonna say transparency, but on top of that is just his relatability. I feel like he'll talk about a lot of his own stories growing up, like his family and stuff like that. So not only do you look at him obviously as a really good coach, but you can start to you feel like you know him a little bit because he tells stories about his mom and how his mom treated him, and then he'll go ahead and ask you he'll pull you aside maybe yo, how's your family doing, or is everything good, is there anything I can do? So he does care, he truly does care for the players, and he'll make it so the players also care for him because it's more personal level, I feel of a relationship.
What have you noticed so far? I know you only been here a few months, but
no, just the way he walk in and command the room, and obviously the transparency and everything. But one of my favorite sayings that I've picked up on him already is when he's talking about varsity versus junior varsity, that term, and he brought it up, and it just resonated with me because he said the reason why I say varsity or junior varsity is because we all know what that looks like. Everybody knows what varsity looks like. Everybody knows what JV looks like. So if you have a bad play, you're gonna say that's a junior varsity player, and that's what I like about it. I mean, he's just, like I said, transparent and relatable, And, that, phrase kind of always stuck with me since I heard it for like my first week I was here.
Yeah, I know we're all out of college now, but I mean, obviously the whole NIL stuff has been big and has gotten a lot of media attention. How do you guys think you would have been able to capitalize with NIL?
Mick would have been rolling around in money. I don't think I would have benefited too much. Like, there was a time, like, I was definitely, like, super broke in college. Like, I remember, like, I was playing Fortnite, and I, like, took my headset off and my controller, and I threw it on my desk, and my controller bounced off the desk and hit my TV. And it was, like, a $80 TV, and I could not buy another TV. Like, I literally had to ask friends for, like, to borrow money until, like, we got the next little stipend, which left us with, like $200 left. Anyways, so there's, like, I definitely would have been more comfortable, but I didn't really, like, shine until my senior year, so I wouldn't have done too much.
Do you realize, like, I was thinking about this the other day, like $20 in college, that's a good weekend, bro.
Oh.
Like, think about what you could do with $20.
Them stipends, how you should look forward to those.
Oh my
the
gosh, we felt rich after a
Yeah,
stipend.
like we get the little, what was it called? The per diem.
But the thing is, at Notre Dame, see, you had to deal with this. They ain't let us move off campus till senior year.
So we didn't really get money.
You didn't even get money until you was a senior there.
And we didn't have boosters, like Alabama boosters, slipping money on the table. We didn't have all that.
What's a booster?
Booster? What do you guys call them? Agents. That's right.
How do you think you would have capitalized, me?
I think I don't know. It's interesting because I'm a guy that's real. I'm not big on all that stuff, but I think I definitely would have took advantage of it for sure. Because like they both said, we struggled for sure during those college days, and I think it would be good to help out my family back home. You know what I'm saying? Because they were struggling just as much as we were in college. So I definitely would have took advantage, and I think it's a blessing for sure, the NIL, but definitely needs to be managed properly. You know what I'm saying? And if it is, it could be a blessing to many people.
Yeah, I mean, you guys play a sport that's the average is 3.5 years, and that's if you're lucky. So, I see it as like if you're in college and you kind of got like a little buzz, like that few extra thousand or whatever at least can give you some comfort going into the league. To where it's like if you don't last long, now you got something you could have invested it, you could have done whatever with it. So now you got something for you. But then it's also
so now do we think people are gonna go into the league that is hungry?
I think
I love football, right? But if I had $10 million going into the league, you know what I'm saying?
Let's do like $100K, because $10 million is like
$100K, no.
No, there's
this dude's getting. I'm saying if you start.
Okay, $1 million. If you come into college with $1 million,
yeah.
I think that just go back to, because I was gonna ask you this later, but it was like what still motivates you? You were All-American at high school, 2-time consensus All-American at Bama, 2-time national champion, Big Nard winner, like 2-time All-Pro. So it's like what still motivates you to keep going?
Yeah, because I want to be the best at what I do, and there's plenty more opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I'm still playing. You know what I'm saying? So I still want to be All-Pro. I still want to be the top safety in the game. I still want to be a Pro Bowler. You know what I'm saying? I still want to be a leader on my team. Then there's stuff off the field that I want to accomplish as well that needs me to perform at a high level on the field. You know what I'm saying? So, and it even though I have the financial success, you know what I'm saying, and one night there's still always more. You know what I'm saying? That's just my approach, and that's sometimes my mom calls me crazy. You know what I'm saying? But there's always more. There's always something to accomplish, but I feel like that approach is very uncommon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like in the league for 4 years, 4 seasons, going on 5, and you could tell the dudes that are in it for the money or for the fame or for the glamour. You know what I'm saying? But you could also tell the guys that are on the opposite end of that spectrum. You know what I'm saying? The guys that are in it for family, for the love of the game. You know what I'm saying? Because they love the dirty work. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the guys on the earlier spectrum is they weed themselves out fast. You know what I'm saying? Because in order to be successful in this league, consistently. Like, now I'm not talking about one Pro Bowl or one All-Pro or one good season. I'm talking about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years of consistent Pro Bowls, All-Pros, high caliber play. Now you gotta love doing the nitty-gritty, the ugly work, the stuff that nobody sees, the stuff that nobody cares about, the stuff that's not pretty, the stuff that is behind the scenes that you don't get no recollection for or accommodation for. And but I feel like, you know, talking about what we're talking about with the NIL, you had these young guys getting this money early. Like, are they gonna fall in love with the money rather than falling in love with the game? You know what I'm saying? Falling in love with the dirty work, falling in love with just the passion in the game. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm in love with. You know what I'm saying? That's why I still do it, because I'm in love with the game. I'm in love with the passion and the energy and the people that I meet. You know what I'm saying? And I love doing the dirty work, and I love training and beating my body up. You know what I'm saying? And but that's my only question about it is, are people gonna fall in love with the money and the stardom rather than the game itself?
Yeah, since I played football, I feel like this statement has always been true. Whatever you put into the game, you're going to get back in return. Mm-hmm. And it's a great game because of that exact issue. But it's also a great game because the people who are in this profession know that, like, you can't hide from the people that are in this profession, the people who love this game. So for me, ever since I've been a part of it, and I think that's so true, because people do become, you know, stagnant because they get, you know, whatever they wanted out of football, whether it was fame, money, or just recognition, like whatever it is, people will stop and become stagnant after they get that, and then you see their game doesn't escalate anymore. So, you know, I think that's a great approach to college sports, especially. I mean, that's the only good thing I would say about it. Is like, it forces you to be hungry in college. It forces you to look at football as a vehicle to get you through your life because you love it. I mean, I'm sure there's things that everybody in this room could be doing, yet we talk about football, how much we love football, and, you know, that's our job. That's why we go to work every day. But in college, it is a little bit different. So I see how helpful NIL could be, but it's got to be used the right way.
Mm-hmm. I think, you know, I think the NIL is a good thing, for sure, because, you know, there's people who really, really, really do need that extra little bit of money. But at the same time, like, I think part of the reason why I was drafted where I was drafted and not maybe, like, later is because, like, in college, you know, I would, like, go to school and, like, go to practice and, like, stay, like, I would try to come in to the Goog a little bit, like, earlier or later, after study hall, before study hall, sometimes, just with, like, me and John Shannon, and we just do jugs. But the whole time I was doing that, I was like, I have to make it, you know, because, you know, my family needs me to make it. You know, I would go home, like, ever since I left high school, like, me and my mom, like, didn't have a crib, so she would sleep at my uncle's house. I would sleep in her friend's basement. I would be every day or every time I went home for 4 years. So it's like, if I didn't make it, like, I'm not going back to a house, right? So it's like, if the NIL was there, I wouldn't have felt that same way. You know what I'm saying? I would be like, oh, you know, I'm okay. Like, I got my mom apartment. Like, you know, we're good. Like, we actually got some paper now. I don't have to work as hard because, like, we're already kind of there. Nah, but since we didn't have that, I was like, I have to make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nowadays they got, like, a whole bunch, all the media outlets like TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, things like those type of outlets that allow an athlete or influencer or whatever to make money. Chase, this is probably just directly to you, but you've been able to just capitalize on that side of revenue. Talk about that a little bit, just because, like, I know a lot, like, I feel like because it's so new, a lot of people see it as, like, you're not a professional, or you're not taking it, you don't take the game serious.
Yeah.
But on the other end, it's like, you're capitalizing on what, like, you're funny. People want to see what you do, and it's like, and it's easy to create on TikTok. It's easy to go on Twitch and play video games and interact with fans and do all those sort of things. But when you have a bad game, it's like, oh, he was on Twitch. It was like, oh, he did a TikTok. And they kind of, like, correlate those two things.
This is somewhat a point to finger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's like, you know, they need some people need a scapegoat, right? They need someone to blame for why things didn't go the right way. I did TikTok and I did YouTube and stuff like that my first year. One, because it was COVID, so I wasn't able to meet any of the fans, right? So that was a way for me to show the fans who I was as a person, and also who I was as a football player, because I did like some workouts in there and stuff. And I TikTok throughout the season because it got me not only a lot of money but a lot of opportunity. It's part of the reason, a big reason why I got my Jordan deal was through the social media. The guy called me, he's like, obviously we love your game on the field, but also your social media presence is something we're looking at because that's where it's trending, right? Social media is king is a little quote. And so I did that, but as we're 11-0, everyone loves it. TikTok, we love the TikToks, keep them coming. As soon as we lose one game, like, that's the reason why we're losing, right? And that's the reason why we're not good anymore. So I see that, I know, like, shit doesn't make sense, but after a while, if you're really not playing good, and things aren't going the right direction, like, it's hard to, like, do the same thing and have people create a story that just isn't true, right? Shouldn't you be practicing right now? Like, nah, I did that in the morning, I worked my ass off, I stayed in the building, like, I did what I had to do. The day's done, it takes 2 seconds to make a TikTok, and I'm a human, so I'm gonna try to, enjoy myself as a human. I already worked my ass off as a football player, but people don't see that, and people don't care, right? They just wanna win, and I get that. So I've weaned off social media a little bit to try to flip the script a little bit. But social media, I'm getting back on that, and as I should, because it's too much opportunity not to, and it is not a distraction to anyone. It wasn't a distraction in our locker room when we were doing TikToks. If anything, it made us all super close. That was like the most fun our locker room has been.
That's what I was going to ask, because it's like, I even see like last year Coach Tomlin got in one.
Yeah.
Can I add on to what he was saying?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
So for the world, it's new. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like what we were saying. And anything new, there's gonna be certain fears or misunderstandings or judgments behind it. And like what I feel like fans aren't used to seeing football players be these type of stars. You know what I'm saying? The TikTok, YouTube, all this other stuff. And even for me personally, like it's different for me because I'm a totally different personality than Chase and a lot of the other guys. So sometimes it could be hard for me to understand, and sometimes I could go to that place, but I see what they do on a regular basis, so I know that they're working and that they're putting in the effort and they're practicing hard. But just because it is new, you know what I'm saying? I can be like, what are we doing these TikToks for in the locker room? You know what I'm saying? And also because it's something different in a locker room. Like you're used to a locker room being hard nosed, grown men. You know what I'm saying, that aren't real like that, you know what I'm saying? But now, we're having different types of people being introduced to the game and different types of personalities in the game. And, is it wrong? No. Is it different? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So obviously people could take the dancing in the locker room a certain way, you know what I'm saying? They could see it as XYZ when all it is people having fun in the locker room. It's just it's different for them. You know what I'm saying? It's different for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, do I take part sometimes? Yeah, of course. You know what I'm saying? After a game where we win, and of course I'm gonna be dancing and hooting and hollering with my teammates. But it's different. You know what I'm saying? And that's all it is. It's not good or bad. It's just something new. And I'm not gonna ever tell Chase not to go get his money. You know what I'm saying? But as long as he's locked in and focused when it comes time to lock in and focus, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I know Chase does that, so it is what it is. And anybody can say what they got to say, but we know how he moves on a daily basis.
I was going to say, how was it received being on like an opposing team to where it's like, because maybe they did the little, was the Corvette thing, or the Corvette? Maybe he hit that on the little.
Not me.
I'm not talking about.
I got 2 points, so I'll answer that one. Coming from a team like, yeah, we see it. Does it make me want to beat them any more than what I already wanted to beat them? No, because I wanted to beat them already.
Right,
it's not. That ain't really necessarily, like, I would say saying something in the media would be worse than doing that. comes to, it's motivation just because, okay, he's making a TikTok, whatever. And like, I don't care. I'm not watching his TikToks before the game. So what difference does that make? But I will say, I think one of the issues today is now because social media exists, you're getting to see what athletes do besides play their sport. Like, I think a lot of fans and people outside of the sport think that just because we love football don't mean we can love anything else.
Right.
Which is just, it's not realistic because football's a job, right? Doesn't mean I don't love my job. It just means I can love other things. So you take any person, any job, if you ask them is that all they love, they're gonna tell you no. It's just people haven't seen it from us because I feel like even from like maybe like 20 years ago, you look at athletes, they didn't have as much access to us as like human, as a human. So it's like now that they see that we do other things besides play sports, whatever that is, they're like, oh, well, shouldn't you just be doing this or shouldn't you just be doing that? I can go fishing and people be like, shouldn't you be practicing? Like, well, it's Sunday, right? Like,
to pick up from that, like, I always like think about like these things, like if social media like Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all these media like little articles were a thing back in the day, like the Bad Boys, like in the Bad Boys era, or like, like in any era, right? There's gonna be so many like quote unquote villains because like, oh, this is how this person is. Like back then you only saw the person on the football field, and that's carried on till today where it's like, oh, all we see you as is a football player. And that's what I'm trying not to be, is just a football player. Because obviously like I carry my whole self, like my whole priority system is to be the best football player. I don't put any priorities over football, like other than family. But in terms of like social media and stuff, it will never be social media over or even a 50-50. It's 100% football, and then when I'm done doing my 100% football, then it's all the stuff that I enjoy doing. But that's just not okay for some people.
Yeah, that's an interesting point too, because it's like you look at the whole Last Dance, and they talk about Dennis Rodman going to Vegas for like 2 nights or a weekend or whatever it was. If he did that now, it's over with. Like, everybody,
people will know about it.
Yeah,
and you know what I'm saying? Like, but that's normal. That happens all the time. Like, it happened all the time back in the day. People did way worse things and said way worse things back then. Like, if people, if there was a social media coverage there today, back then, with some of the things that people said, it would be over for them. Over. But that's just not how it was. Times have changed.
You was going to add something?
I was going to add on to what Miles had said about making it not want to beat that person anymore, talking about the TikToks and the videos and stuff like that. Me, personally, I'm gonna keep it real, you know what I'm saying? So for me, like again, I'm a different type of player than some guys, but for me, like I use anything I can for fuel. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be a tweet, whether it be I see what they do on a regular basis. Like if I see, like I'm gonna be honest. If I see somebody doing all the little dances and whatnot, I'm not looking at him and being like, oh, this a dog where I gotta, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I love that shit because
that's me, and like there's other guys, you know what I'm saying? But for me, it's like I look at that and it's like, as the type of person I am, the player I am, like I look at it and it's like for me, it's like I said, it's like. Is this dude gonna bite my face off? You know what I'm saying? When it comes time to it, you know what I'm saying? And like, is him doing those dances proving that he won't? No, but
it's a mindset.
Just the mindset.
And I
use
use that.
like,
I love that because you know when people come up to me and like, oh man, you a TikToker. There's one dude on There's one dude. I'm like, yo, wait till the next snap. Now I can say, and now you can tell all your friends you just got your ass beat by a TikTok. You know what I'm saying? That's cool with me. Yeah. Dude on the Dallas Cowboys in the Hall of Fame game, or the sideline, someone was like, oh, TikToker. Mm-hmm. I was like, bet, watch this. I took this man 20 yards down the field. I'm like, all right, bet. Looked at them. I said, what's good? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I said, now he's going to be on TikTok with me. So
he might go on our TikTok. That clip might be on our TikTok.
That's why I said, like, when it comes to media, like, I'll take that as motivation. When I see Juju dancing, I'm like, all right, like, this is silly, bro. What am I doing with my time? We even watch this. But I get what you're saying too.
You know what I'm
Because
saying? He a defensive player.
I
player
get how
too.
we can
That's
see
how I
like,
get it.
oh, this man's not a dog, but at the end of the day, I'm still the same.
I get it.
You know,
I get it.
quote unquote. Which I'm not saying you're not saying I am, right?
It's just
like,
a perception.
For sure. I know how the
it is,
perception is.
yeah.
I know that shit doesn't look tough. I know that shit doesn't look cool.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny when people, I'm not saying you do this stuff, like other people do this, when people put on that like, oh, tough dude mentality, like, you know, when it's hard to make them laugh and shit, like, you know, they just move very like silently. Like, I don't care what people think about me, right? Like, you know, I'm a goofy dude. Like, that's just who I am. But when I step on the field, like, I don't care who it is, like I said, with Lynchy, I'll go toe-to-toe with anyone. Yeah. And, you know, I really do believe that I could, you know, do that and be a dog and dog them on the field, no matter who it is, right? But just because the perception is one way, that shit doesn't mean anything to me, right?
You know how I think every football player knows, bro. Once you step on that field, you go to a completely different place. Sure. I don't care what nobody's saying, bro. Your loved ones will know. Like, that's the only people that understand. You go into a different place when you step on that field, man.
Yeah. My mom always used to, like, she always said, like, she knew when I was talking trash just because, like, my head would, like, be moving. And she'd be in the stands, she'd be like, oh, there you go. But nah, it's funny. I mean, like, and even, like, I mean, it's such a stressful game to where it's, like, you don't want to stress yourself out so much leading up to the game to where, in Juju's case, he probably did it as, like, a pregame ritual to it. It was just, like, something like, let me just, like, chill, like, whatever. What do y'all have any, like, pregame rituals? I know you said you don't do the social media stuff like game day, but what are some of y'all's, like, maybe music or, like, the breakfast you eat or anything like that?
Yeah, I was gonna say I take a nap before every game. So whether it's like a 5-minute nap or it's not, I just gotta do it. But I just like meditate during it. It's not like a real nap. I just like close my eyes and just like visualize the game and everything that's about to happen.
I'll usually have family in town, so I'll usually just eat breakfast with them, depending on what time the game's at. If the game's at whatever, like 1, we gotta be there by 11, so you have less time to do that. But try to like the first little part, you know, get ready, stretch, do all that stuff, and like get everything ready. But like I try to spend a little bit of time just like not doing any of that. You know, like an hour, whether it's an hour eating breakfast with the family, because then it's like a good mental reset. And then once that's done, it's like 100% football.
Yeah. For me, I got, so going back to what you said about having those two, or what you said about flipping the switch.
Oh, yeah.
I got like two totally different like personalities when I'm playing and when I'm outside the field. So sometimes I need to get myself to work, like get into that, you know, that football Minkah mode. So whenever I get to the facility or the stadium, I get there, I think probably 3 hours before or an hour before we gotta be there, and I'm a man of faith, so I always put my worship music on as I walk around the field twice. That's my, you know, just get my mind right, locked in, and then I flip the switch, and the next 2 laps will be my, you know, my rap music, my music getting, you know, in line with that more aggressive, less passive Minkah.
Who your go-to artist?
Go-to artist? I'm a real big Jay-Z fan.
Okay.
And old school Meek. I like Meek a lot, yeah.
How about you?
I like old school Drake, and then I was messing with Pop Smoke and then King Von, but.
Man, that's so funny to hear you say, because like I get so hyped on game days, I gotta listen to something that like calms me down.
Yeah.
So like I'm a huge Juice WRLD fan because we grew up in the same area. My cousin was actually his teacher in high school, so Juice's music always just resonated with me because we came from the same area. So like I always listen to him to calm me down. So that's why it's funny that y'all listen.
Yeah, but
I can't listen to hype.
I'll listen to like some Hosier and stuff during a little pregame. So like soft rock type music, because I like to switch up the vibe too. Sometimes it's like headbang. You need something just to like calm you down a little bit.
And in college on the bus to the stadium, I feel like I always had to go with the gospel music too, just because like I needed to just be real calm on
Yeah.
on the bus to the
Yeah,
game, just because it's like I
exactly.
can't be like.
That's
I see
hard.
people like on the bus like this.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, game, not just 3-4 hours away.
Shit already.
So I'm like, I gotta go with some gospel music just to like, cause also I feel like I appreciate the moment more.
Exactly.
To where it's like, okay, like you really feel like you supposed to be in this moment, and it's like all the blessings are like right in front of you. You know what I mean? And so. That was definitely something that I had to do too. And then like once I got there, I was a big like young boy and like some old Wayne too for sure.
Yeah.
Wayne.
Yeah.
Old Wayne, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is so now that Juju's gone, what would it be like without him in the locker room? Like how would his absence be felt?
Yeah, I think for me as a receiver, the receiver room was like super laid back in a good way where people could like ask questions and like talk football. He would like, I don't think people understand, like Juju was really like one of the best leaders I've been around, because he would say what everyone else is thinking. Like he would talk to an offensive coordinator or receiver coach or even coach T and be like, yo, we're doing this, but like this isn't working, or you know, if we did this, like this would we feel like this would be better. So he would say things that we were like, you know, we're not really in a position to say that, but he would do that for us, no questions asked. And then Juju just as a person, I was his neighbor, and he was the most like selfless dude of all time. He would do anything, like you asked him, like I was a rookie and I'm like, yo, like homie, like do you have like garbage bags or something? He'd be like, no, I don't, but I'll go get them for you. Like crazy stuff like that. So he'll be missed. He'll be missed. You obviously. Yeah, but yeah, I think we'll try to replace that best we can.
So we have a segment called One of None, where we just mention just like one memorable moment just in your career that's either led up to today, or it could be football, it could be outside of football, just a moment that like really sticks with you. For me, it was like, this was actually crazy. We were in Cleveland, and like this was like the first time like I was like recognized for a podcast. So a kid came up to me and he was like, yo, he was like, are you Shaun? I was like, yeah. He was like, you do the podcast, right? And I was like, yeah. But it was like, it was cool for me because it was like, that was the first time that everyone or that anyone has recognized me like outside of sports for real. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, especially with this like this new journey, it's like, okay, like it like people, it's reaching people. And so like for me, I feel like that's always gonna stick with me. I'm gonna feel like I'll always remember that where I was at. I'm gonna always remember that interaction. So like that's like my like one of none moment. And then so if y'all could think of one, it'd be cool.
Any point?
Yeah, any point.
Any point. So football, I would say I've been a part like in terms of like youth football, high school, and college, all included. I've been a part of like 6 championships, mostly in youth football because Notre Dame, we don't have the luxury of playing in every national championship. Bad luck happened. All of them got injured in like at least one of each games, and then there was like my last chance to win the championship. Last play of the game, I was like 14, maybe 13. 1 yard line, 2 seconds left. The other team has it. We're on defense. The play before, I started crying. I was like 12, 13. I started crying because I was like, they're gonna score and we're gonna lose another championship. Like, and that was like the 4th one at that time. But then the next play, I ended up like doing a little Palomelo leap and trying to like jump over the guy, face mask the quarterback, doing a quarterback sneak, and the whole team was like, oh, face mask. The rest were thinking about throwing the flag. I was like, I didn't face mask him. He's lying. And then they just waved the game off and said that was the game. So that was my first and only championship. So that was my one of none. And that's like what I've been, I guess, chasing ever since. So that's why that's one.
My one of none, it was like more of a situational thing. So I think I had to be a junior, and I just got done visiting a school. I don't even know what school it was, but I asked my mom, I was like, Mom, you really like, because my mom took me on the majority of my visits when she could, and I was like, Mom, do you like this school? Like, how do you feel about it? And she looked at me, she said, it don't matter what I think. This is up to you. Like, I'm not the one going to this school for 4 years. And it's a simple quote coming from a mom, but for me, that set me up my whole life to where I knew that I had to take control of where my life was going. I had to make the decisions for myself. And I think becoming a man, that's one of the best things you can do, is take responsibility for all your actions. So from that point forward, I say that just to say that I know that everything I do is affecting my future and what I want to do. So when I made the decision to go to Notre Dame, and it didn't even have to be that decision, but even decisions today, okay, I'm going to go work out today, or I'm going to go do this today, I'm going to do that today. I said it because I have to take responsibility for all of my actions, and I know where it's going to lead me. And I think, obviously, the men even sitting in this room today, everybody's made a great choice on what they've done in being in the position that they're in now, and putting themselves in that position, because ultimately no one else can do that besides you, no matter who helps you out. You're the one that's going to make those decisions in life. So I'll say that's my point now.
That's a good one. I would say mine would be probably deciding to go to St. Peter's, where I went to high school, and then combining that with also going to Alabama. So both circumstances were very similar in the sense of there were going to be challenges. They were going to be tough. They were going to be full of just unknown. You know what I'm saying? A whole lot of unknown. Like for when I go into St. Peter's, it was like I'm traveling an hour back and forth. Then we lost our home to a hurricane my freshman year, a week before I started. So then it was like, all right, where am I going to be staying? You know what I'm saying? Where I'm going to be living? Who I'm going to be living with? Should I even still go to the school? Can my parents afford it? A whole bunch of just unknowns. And making the decision to just step into that and embrace it. You know what I'm saying? It really it gave me a foundation of feeling comfortable with stepping into the unknowns in life. Because if I didn't do that, if I didn't go to St. Peter's, if I didn't go to Alabama, if I just did the comfortable, the easy, more welcoming route, I wouldn't be where I am today. You know what I'm saying? Because now every day, whenever there's unknown, I could just walk into it knowing that, one, God got my back, and two, I've done it before. So I know that I might get beat up, I might get bruised, I might get, scraped up, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be all right because I'm stepping in the path that I'm supposed to walk. Even though it's unknown, it's dark, it's scary, but, I got the right people around me, I got the right mindset. So, my one of none, definitely attending St. Peter's and the University of Alabama, for sure.
I want to bring up the Vikings game real quick. Last year, down 29. Down 29-0. But it was a crazy comeback. That game, and I feel like
Almost comeback.
Yeah, almost comeback. But I feel like that game kind of helped y'all later on in the season, like just fight through adversity, and I feel like that was just like that was pretty much y'all season, like to where it's like you got this great team, you got great talent, but it's just like there's just moments where y'all just got to keep fighting and just keep like persevering through times like that. What was the energy like on the sideline, just like being down, and then like as you started to make that climb back, and then like what was the message from that game?
To be honest, I'm not even gonna lie. The energy was down for a little while. You know what I'm saying? Being down, 29-0 is not a fun experience at all. But I think what you said about it being a reflection of our season is very accurate, because we were down 29-0, and we had a choice in that moment. Were we going to just fall over and let them do whatever they wanted, or are we going to fight back? You know what I'm saying? And I remember clear as day. I remember going on the sideline, and I just had this. I remember Buda Baker actually said this one day. He was on the field and he was just like, "No fear, no fear." You know what I'm saying? No fear. He had just tackled somebody who was probably twice his size, went full speed and went and got him. And he was just like, "No fear, no fear." You know what I'm saying? And like I respect Buda as a player, and I love watching him play. And like I said, I like taking bits and pieces of people. So like I embrace that. You know what I'm saying? Like no fear. You know what I'm saying? And then like more and more I started saying that, it was like face first, full speed, into the fire, no fear. You know what I'm saying? We down 29-0.
Right.
What we got to lose? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I started saying on the sideline, like full speed, face first, into the fire, who coming with me? You know what I'm saying? Like I need somebody to come with me.
Mhm.
And you know, other people started embracing it and kind of embracing that mentality. We started making plays. We had a couple pass breakups. Got picks. Akello got a couple picks, and we started getting our momentum back. And like that moment right there, like I learned a lot about myself and also about the team. You know what I'm saying? Like even though we was down 29-0, we made the decision in that moment to keep fighting. You know what I'm saying? Like to keep going, to keep pushing. It's like a lot of people in that circumstance would have just keeled over and let them run all over us. But we made the decision to embrace what the circumstance that we were in, and to keep fighting and to keep giving 110 and to keep playing with passion. And like that was the biggest thing. Like you could go out there and just BS the rest of the game, but everybody went out there fired up, like we was up 29-0. You know what I'm saying? Or like we was tied. So we definitely learned a lot about ourselves as a team in that game. And like even though we lost, like at the end of the day, like I was angry. I was pissed off that we lost in the fashion that we did, but I was also proud of the way that we have fought. You know what I'm saying? And like not a lot of people would have embraced the challenge of being down 29-0 in the way that we did. So so we definitely learned a lot about ourselves.
Chase, your role next year is going to expand, obviously, just with receivers leaving. Even now, you do reverses, you do the quick screens and things like that. You see Debo's situation, to where it's like he really doesn't like that stuff. To where it's like it takes a toll on his body. Do you have like similar feelings towards that stuff, or is it just like, I mean, like we talked about, like you love the game, like you'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
But what's it like being asked to do those things, and or do you look at it as like I don't know, just like they believe in you, I guess.
Yeah. No, I do like getting those opportunities in terms of like the screens and, you know, the quick passes and stuff and the reverses, because, you know, I'm like, you know, I know I'm capable. So I know they could give it to like the smaller guys, more shifty guys, but, you know, I like how they try to get the ball in my hands in different ways. You know, but I think moving forward, I still want that, but I just want, you know, bigger role in the deep field, you know, deep pass game. And, you know, I think there was like some limitations with, you know, with some circumstances that we couldn't do that. But this offseason, I've really been working on the deep ball game and trying to be more of a deep ball threat, because that's, you know, kind of who I am. And so now I've been working on the short stuff, now I can work on the deep stuff. He's good back there.
Camera man. Miles, how have you seen your, like, how do you feel like you're gonna come into your role here?
Yeah, definitely, man. That was one of, you know, my biggest questions on, you know, why did they claim me off of waivers? But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm a big body receiver, so obviously making contested catches, you know, whether it's the red zone or, you know, being a deep ball threat, and then obviously the special teams component, you know. The Steelers love special teams, and so do I, man. I love helping the team any way I can, so we running down on kickoff. I got to run down on kickoff. It don't matter to me, and I'm just there to win.
I'm going to try to be right beside you. I'm trying to get in one of them.
Threes? We got threes?
Kickoff, punt. I want to get
I remember having to block Chase. Man, was your first game? You played in Baltimore your first game?
No. First game was New York Giants.
No, I'm saying the first game that you played against Baltimore, was it in Baltimore?
Yes, I think it was.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, so it would have been your first game too. No, it would have been second. It would have been second. Yeah, so Chase is running down a kickoff, and I'm trying to block him, right? But they did this stupid thing where the Steelers kicked the ball all the way across the field. So I got to go chase all the way across the field. I got to go chase him. So I get there, I line up. Chase go behind me, just push me in the back. I look at this play, I was like, bro, really? That's what you're doing? Didn't even go close to making the tackle. But no, man, that was always funny, man. I love competing against you. I love competing against you, too, because you're a hell of a player, man. Just the way they both, you know, command themselves out there on the field. Like, there's definitely players that you respect. I don't like playing against y'all, but you definitely respect a lot of players, man, and how they play the game. So, yeah, I mean, that's one of the players I strive to be. Just go out there and, especially for my teammates, when they look at me knowing that I'm going to do whatever it takes to win, whether it is playing special teams, whether it is, you know, catching touchdowns, catching slants, whatever it is. I'm just out there to win.
I want to ask you, who are some of the, or who's the hardest DB that you've faced so far?
I think Tre'Davious White plays a really solid game. I would say he was probably there.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey, for sure. I played against him, I think, 3 times. Yeah, I think it was 3 times, yeah.
How about, who's the, I guess, best offensive player that because you play safety, so you really don't cover as much, but who's like just the offensive player that just give, not necessarily, maybe not even you, but just like the whole defense, like who gave y'all the most problems?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of talent across the league. I can't think of nobody off the top of my head. That's just me being prideful.
Yeah, I feel it.
Chase, like not too long ago, you had a message on Twitter, where you was just like, a lot of people not open to share their emotions, and you were, which is, like, even watching that for me, it was like dang, cause like that's not something I would do, and that's probably that's probably where it's like a lot of people need to like get out of that shell and to be open to expressing really how they feel, just because it may help someone else down the line who's going through something similar. That's like that. Your message probably touched a lot more people than just like the audience that you were trying to reach. But if you were to keep that to yourself, then it's just like someone's not getting that gem right there.
Yeah.
What like how have you grown and how have you developed to be able just to get to that point?
Yeah. You know, I've always like I've placed an emphasis on my life in terms of like not really caring what other people think about me. You know, that's why like I do like some of the social media stuff, because like, you know, and like especially that message that I posted, like I know that doesn't look cool. I know that doesn't make me look tough. I know that it makes me look maybe like the opposite, right? But you know, that message, you know, I wish someone was able to do that message, you know, when my sister was still around, and my sister still see that, right? So ever since my sister passed, I've been an advocate for mental health, right? And you know, I talk to kids, and through whether it's DMs or whether I talk to them in person, I talk to them about like trying to like seek help any way you can, whether that's a counselor or your family member or a friend or someone. I tell them to express their emotions, right? So, you know, I was going back and forth with posting it, right? Because I was like, damn, like I know this shit isn't gonna look cool. It's not supposed to look cool.
Right.
And I know, you know, it doesn't make me look tough, but I was like, you know what, man, like, what kind of person am I to go and tell a kid to express themselves, and I can't even do that myself, right? So, basically, you know, that goal was for Dwayne's legacy, but it was also, that video was for Dwayne's legacy, but it was also in hopes to, you know, help one kid, at least one kid. If I can help one person with that video, then, you know, I feel like that, and then whatever comes after that, the backlash that comes from that is fine, because, you know, that kid was helped, maybe saved.
I know we mentioned before, Mink, you kind of already talked about this but what keeps you guys motivated? To where, like you said, it could be family, to where it's like you've kind of reached your goals already, but Minkah touched on this, but I didn't hear from you two. What kind of keeps you two motivated just to keep going, where it's like the financial stuff is already taken care of, and like you battled through injuries, you battled through having to switch teams and things like that, having to move. What's that thing like in your mind, and what's like your foundation that just keeps you going?
To me, it's success. I think once you get a little taste of success, no matter what it is just so addicting. No matter how you get it, what you do to get it, it just becomes so addicting. So for me, it's everything that comes with success too as well. I guess I should say that. And I feel like I'm at the combine again, because you're gonna ask you, why do you love football? But one of the things that I know I'm gonna miss the most, and you could probably touch on this too, Shaun. Like, there's days where I'll just be like in the locker room, like thinking like, damn, like how cool is this, man? We all get to be in the locker room and bullshitting with each other, talking about whatever we want to talk about, playing a game that we love to play, and then we get to go out there and win. And obviously, like, winning is one of the greatest feelings you can ever have. So I can only imagine what winning a Super Bowl is like. You know, I don't know. You guys won the AFC North championship. Do you guys win AFC North?
Yeah, we did.
Exactly. So like, even imagine how great that feels. Like I won one in my rookie year in Baltimore, but it's like, damn, imagine winning the AFC championship. Imagine winning the Super Bowl. It just becomes addicting, and this is this thing that you're always chasing. And even once you get it, I heard once you get it, it makes you want to win another one even more, because then you just like you taste the success, so now you can't forget that. But the reason why I'm just so passionate about what I do every day is because this ain't gonna last forever,
Right.
and it ends shorter than what you always wanted it to end. So every day when I walk into the facility, I'm just blessed to be around guys like this and just be able to take it one day at a time to strive towards that ultimate goal, because it's so collective and this is such a team sport. This is the biggest team sport that there is, because one person can do their job wrong and now you're down by 7.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I could slip on a route, it's a pick 6 the other way. I just put the team at a disadvantage. Or I can make a great play and put the team up by 7. So it's just so collective, and that's why I love the sport, because there's just so much that everybody has to do to just win a little bit. And it goes by down, quarter by quarter, and then game by game. But there's just so much that goes into it, and that's why I'm passionate about it. That's why I'm motivated.
For me, I would say, obviously my family, my mom, my dad, my brothers and stuff like that. But just like, I think like another thing is I sit in the locker room too and I say like how cool this is and obviously love the game, but to switch it up, I like a weird goal and a big goal of mine is like for my last name, like Claypool, to be like something that people around, you know, the world know. You know, like, oh, like Claypool, that name sounds familiar. Or, oh, I know Claypool. Not even now, but like 20 years from now, like my kids going to school, it's like, oh, you're a Claypool. Like, it's a weird goal of mine, but I really want to try to like put my family's name on the map.
For sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Miles, what was it? I actually want to know this. Since you saw him every day, what was it like playing with Lamar? Because I'm sure like when you watch him on film and then like you played against him, to where it's like you probably don't even have the time to like really like appreciate the talent that he is, because you're trying to stop him. To where it's like you can't even sit there and be like, dang, he great. It's like how like we sure don't figure out ways to make him look, you know, average.
Yeah.
What was it like playing with a player like that and then just being able to like see what he do every day?
Man, I've said this so many times, and Lamar is like truly one of the most gifted athletes I've ever seen. Like basketball, football, it don't matter. Like he's one of the most gifted athletes I've ever seen. And then on top of that, it's just his demeanor. He's so calm. He's so humble. Like every day he goes out there to work, and then the things that he does in a game, he does crazier things in practice, which is crazy to believe, because I mean it's just ridiculous. But getting to work with him every day is ridiculous, because he has the same attitude every day. Like it doesn't matter what just happened. It doesn't matter, you know, if he made a bad throw or a bad read or something like that. He's like, all right, whatever, we're gonna get it back. We could be 4th and 20. He's like, all right, cool. Like we got this. We're gonna pick it up. I mean, he's picked it up a couple of times by himself, but it's just like, playing with someone like that is just so transcendent to the game, because you got so many kids running around saying, like, I want to be like Lamar, I want to be like Lamar. And even to play with an MVP is just ridiculous. That whole season, it just feels like it's surreal, because you look at like the MVPs of our league, like, you know, Aaron Rodgers, obviously, so playing like someone like that, and Lamar is that type of talent. So being that young and being that crucial, not only to, you know, the league itself, but just the players around you, it was big for me, just, you know, be able to work with him every day.
Mm-hmm. I guess before we finish up, this is something I want to know personally, but like, what's it like just walking in on a Sunday, stadium sold out, November, December, cold, on a Sunday afternoon, November, December, stadium sold out. What's it like when you just, it's probably a close game or something like that, but then just a terrible towels just get going? I'm sure it's very loud. What's that whole experience like?
For me, my first year, I didn't get to be a part of it. We still played the music, right, with the MD? Yeah, and like, for me, it was like still cool, whatever, but I can, like, for the people that been there and have seen that, and it was just music, no towels, I can see like how big of a difference that was for them, and everyone was like, this ain't the same. Like, you might as well not even like play this music. So 2021, my second year, that was the first time they did that, and it's definitely goosebumps for sure, because it's like, you know, so like traditional and something that like kind of embodies like the Steelers culture is that thing. So Oh, that was pretty dope. Gets me fired up.
Yeah, it's definitely there's not too many moments like that in sports. You know what I'm saying? And the moments that you do have when they start playing Renegade, when everybody starts waving the towels, it's just even when you're not feeling like 110 into the fired up in intensity, once they start playing the music and they waving the towels, you just immediately just everything just you just start flowing, you know what I'm saying, and gets you in that mood, all right, let's lock in, let's get this, you know what I'm saying, because you got the whole stadium behind you, and you know what it's doing to the opponent too, you know what I'm saying. You see them over there, and they got to get in real tight into their huddle, you know what I'm saying, to talk to each other, and our sidelines jumping and hooting and hollering, and they over there all stiff, you know what I'm saying. So it's cool. It's a great experience, and like I said, it's not a whole lot like it in all sports.
Miles, talk about like you said, you on the opposite sideline. So what's that like?
Sure, man. They wait for the perfect opportunity to play it too. It'll be like a 3. I think one game was up by 10. Y'all scored a touchdown, so now we only up by 3. Now we're going on offense, and it's probably 2.5 minutes left, maybe 3 minutes left. As soon as we kick off, start playing, it goes crazy in there, man. I think we had a 3 and out or something like that. They go down and score, and we lose. I never won in Pittsburgh. And that song is crazy. It's definitely, out of all the places that I've played in, and that one of the best, songs that they play for fans.
What do you hope to accomplish in Pittsburgh? Because it's now it's just you got added motivation to where it's you were released from the Ravens to where now you just got something to prove. So coming into this season, what are you looking to prove, I guess?
One, prove the type of player that I am, and that I'm capable of being, and that I have been. But no goal is above winning a Super Bowl, and that's one of the great things I can say about leaving Baltimore to coming here is that that's just the standard. Playoffs is an expectation. It's not a goal. It's an expectation here. Winning a Super Bowl is a goal. That's what we're trying to reach, and that's one thing I'm so fortunate for, because it's not like that everywhere around the league. Some teams are happy to be in playoffs, and it's never been like that. You make the playoffs in a place like Pittsburgh and you don't go far, and it's okay, we need to get better. It's not, are we happy with what we got? Let's keep doing this. It's not like that everywhere around the league. That's why I'm saying there's certain standards with certain teams, and this is one of those teams that had that standard to win a Super Bowl. That's why I believe I'm here. That's why I want to be here, just because you got guys who are legitimately hungry to win a Super Bowl. And that goal is not realistic for everybody, but it's realistic for us.
Mm-hmm. What are some strides y'all think that's going to get you over that? Because it's I feel even on your down years, you make the playoffs. So it's what's going to be that thing that just gets you to that next step?
I think details. I think being on top of the details, the little stuff that you might think doesn't matter, but it really does. Whether it's working on bunches and stacks and over-communicating from a defensive standpoint. But yeah, I think that's what's gonna take us over the hump, because we got the talent, we got the personnel, we got the coaching, you know what I'm saying? And I think just being consistent throughout the season on our details, doing the extra little stuff to take us over that next level. I think it'll take us a whole lot farther than what we've been doing.
Yeah, just play off that. It's just mistake-free football in the playoffs, right? You can't even afford to do it in the regular season, because every mistake, leads to something. But honestly, because if you get the details tightened up, then you start playing mistake-free football, and then you start winning games that are decided by one play.
Well, that's it for another episode of Varsity House Podcast. I appreciate y'all definitely taking the time out of y'all days. I know it's minicamp time, and everything y'all talked about is what y'all getting ready to go do. So, we talked about, I don't have a favorite team. I got favorite players. So I'm just. If y'all go to the Super Bowl, then I go to the Super Bowl. Appreciate you guys. We had Minkah Fitzpatrick, Miles Boykin, and Chase Claypool from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So thank you.
Appreciate
you.
And we give a quick shout out to the Westin in Pittsburgh. Appreciate the hospitality.
Appreciate you guys.